होता यह है कि आप 10 साल 20 साल मजदूरी करते हो, पहले काम करते हो, उसके बाद वापस पढ़ाई करते हो, फिर वापस काम करते हो, फिर पढ़ाई करते हो, फिर उसके बाद लाइफ आ जाती है। लाइफ में आपको बहुत सारी चीज़ें करने का मन करता है, इसके लिए आप कॉर्पोरेट कंपनी ज्वाइन करते हो। उसमें एक प्रमोशन होता है, फिर 2 प्रमोशन होते हैं, फिर कई बार आप अटक जाते हो, कई बार आपके और प्रमोशन होते हैं, फिर आपके नीचे लोग काम करने लगते हैं, कभी उनके ऊपर काम करने लगते हैं। यू हैव योर बॉसेस, यू हैव योर कलीग्स एंड समटाइम्स यू हैव पीपल अंडर यू ऑल्सो हु आर वर्किंग. In all these things, there's one thing which is common. Everyone who is working in corporates, they love this word called promotions. But there's lot of hush hush around it. Nobody knows exactly ये promotion होते कैसे हैं, कौन है जो डिसाइड करता है. Is it boss? Is it the HR? Is it boss's boss? या फिर कोई और? Is it probably a godly power? भगवान भरोसे, अगर प्रमोशन होना होगा तो हो जाएगा, नहीं होना होगा तो नहीं होगा. कभी लोग बहुत ज़्यादा डिप्रेसिंग थॉट्स के साथ प्रमोशन का सोचते हैं और कभी इतने ज़्यादा ओवर एक्साइटेड हो जाते हैं कि बस कल ही हमारा प्रमोशन होना है. बट बातें बहुत होती हैं. प्रमोशन बात ही ऐसी है, सब करना चाहते हैं बट किसी को शायद ही पता है कि कैसे होता है. वी आर डिस्कसिंग दैट टुडे कि प्रमोशन होता कैसे, कौन करता है, किस तरीके से आपका प्रमोशन ईजी हो सकता है, और कल को अगर आपको किसी को प्रमोट करना है तो आप कैसे उनको कर सकते हो. All these discussions, all these pointers, a lot of fun, lot of anecdotal content, lot of stories. We will be talking about it in this podcast or session or conversation. We are still not decided. So I'll invite my guest and also founder and CEO of BCL, which is also called Better Corporate Life, Mr. Sushant Sehra, who comes with lot of experience, lot of credibility, lot of pedigree. भाई साहब IIM से पढ़े हुए हैं, उसके अलावा एसेंचर, एनवीडिया, सिटी जैसी कंपनियों में काम कर चुके हैं. 200, 250, 500 लोगों को प्रमोट कर चुके हैं या उनके प्रमोशन में हिस्सेदारी दे चुके हैं, और आज अपनी कंपनी स्टार्ट कर चुके हैं जो लोगों को प्रमोट करती है. So let's hear what are his thoughts about promotions, how people can be promoted, and what are these tricks that he is selling in this system which is called Better Corporate Life and being promotable. ये एक्शन बोलने के बाद जब स्टार्ट होता है ना तो आप कॉन्शियस होते हो.
True.
एंड कॉन्शियस आप तब भी होते हो जब आपका प्रमोशन बहुत टाइम से नहीं हो रहा हो. इसके लिए बहुत लोग बहुत सारी स्टोरी सुनाते हैं कि हमारे प्रमोशन नहीं हो रहे, क्यों नहीं हो रहे. बट आपके पास कोई ऐसी स्टोरी है जिनका प्रमोशन बहुत इजीली होता रहा है, बस सोचा कि हाँ अब होना चाहिए और हो गया. बाकी जो लोग थे साथ में उनको कभी नहीं लगा कि इसका प्रमोशन हो सकता है, पर उस जने का या आपका प्रमोशन होता रहा. तो वो कोई ना कोई जादूगर वाली ट्रिक होती है जिसके कारण प्रमोशंस होते हैं. वो ऐसी कोई स्टोरी है आपके पास?
So many. लेकिन मैं तो आपको थोड़ा सा बाहर की भी स्टोरी सुनाता हूँ. Right? There was a CEO of IBM. Very bad CEO. Where IBM was the number one company, he brought it to the ground. You know how many number of times he was promoted? 16 times in 23 years.
Wow.
So less than 2 years, less than 1.5 years, he was promoted. And a lot of us think we should not be asking for a promotion till we have completed 2, 3, 4 years, or we have achieved something great in our life. Here was this guy who kept on getting promoted. Now, who can estimate that you are doing a good job in 1 year, in 1.5 years? No one can. So that estimation will never happen.
You would have some document, no, or some videos or something जिसके कारण उसका प्रमोशन इतनी जल्दी हो रहा था.
See, that's again, there is this thought process that you have articulated कि एक चीज, एक डॉक्यूमेंट, एक काम, एक प्रोजेक्ट, एक ग्रैंड थिंग. It is never like that. Promotion होता है for what you stand for is visible. And what you are standing for doesn't have to be a great thing. It just has to be a known thing. Because there are so many people who are doing really good jobs, never ever get that acknowledgement, because it is very hard for anyone in a corporate to estimate are you doing a good job or a bad job.
This is a continuous thing. This is not one of a rare instance, right? When someone like the CEO of IBM got promoted, a skill. There are a lot of people who get promoted very quickly. Is it only one thing that because they are known for something, hence they are promoted, or there are multiple things like that?
Promotability as a skill has multiple pillars. It's not just one thing that they were known for. If you're known for something, it just becomes easier. You have to work a lot less harder. But the first thing, if you ask me, is not that you're known for something. The first thing is that your desire has been expressed, has been known to your boss very early. For example, if I ask you, what is the right time to ask for a promotion? What will you say?
2 years.
But this guy was getting promoted in less than 1.5 years. So it can't be there was one godfather who was promoting him every time.
And I think it's an upbringing that, hey, you cannot ask for promotion until you do certain things, and you will only be doing certain things when you are doing it for a long period of time. Once you are done, people will already see you and they will promote you. Even if that is not happening, then you ask for it.
Which is the belief that everyone holds, right? And I tell you what happens because of this. Let's say you think 2 years is a good time to get promoted. Now suddenly you see somebody who has joined 1 year back or 1.5 year back, he gets promoted, right? Now you go to your boss demanding for a promotion because somehow you feel that you have now earned that promotion because somebody else got promoted. Now there was only one position that got filled out. What will your boss say? Maybe next time.
Better luck next.
Better luck next time, or I will take care of you next time. That gives you one more additional year. So let's say 2.5 years. Now in that 2.5 years, your boss can change. His priorities can change. Company will go into restructuring. Your project might not go as well as it is going today. And you lost one more year. So you're like 3.5, 4 years. Then people get very angry, get frustrated, get stuck. And what do they do after that? They look for alternate role. They look for a job outside. And they have this hidden desire कि मैं जब जाऊंगा तो मैं अपने कपड़े वपड़े उतार के फेंक के मार के जाऊंगा कि तुमने मुझे प्रमोट नहीं किया, देखो दूसरी कंपनी ने मुझे ले लिया. But then the same cycle repeats in the next company and the next company. Now, if you look at your career of 25, 30 years, you would realize that you have missed out at least 6 promotions because you have not asked early. So the good time to ask is yesterday. Sorry, I'm using a corporate jargon. So we recommend the day you get the job, the day you get a promotion, day you get a new role, that's the day to ask for a promotion.
Can you elaborate on this?
So let's say you join the company, this is your first day. That very first day, you should go and meet your boss and ask, what do you look for in the next role? I'm interested in that.
But isn't it easier said than done? It's very new. My boss would think ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा जल्दी बात कर रहा है, बहुत ज़्यादा ambitious है, yeah, and not in a right way, because you are going and asking कि भाई मैं कब promote हो रहा हूँ, and mostly when you are asking this, chances are that you are asking to that person जिसका role आपको लेना है. So that becomes bigger problem than that you are asking your boss कि भाई मैं आपका जैसा कैसा बन रहा हूँ.
Which is exactly how every boss would reply, right? But what was your question? Your question was, what do you look for in the next role? And I want to gun for it. Right? It wasn't give me the promotion or let me snatch that promotion from somewhere. What you have made clear at that stage is, look, you are ambitious. You are willing to do anything to get the next role. What you have done is given a leverage to your boss. Next time he wants you to do something out of your job, he knows this is the carrot that he will give you.
So you are giving cues for him or her that was I am looking for it, I am ready for it. Whenever my time comes, I should get promotion.
That's one. What you've done is you've planted a seed. That, look, this person wants to get promoted. The second thing, which is a little bit of a surprise to many people, in the promotion committee discussions, hardly this topic comes up. When was the last time this guy was promoted?
Okay.
Right? Unless they want to reject someone. Unless somebody has an argument against you, he will say that, look, he's just joined, we are still seeing, etc. But in that committee, they're looking and discussing 40 people, 50 people, 60 people. They don't have time to discuss when was the last time this guy was promoted. All they would remember is this guy wanted to be promoted. And if this person wants something, and in exchange he can give us something back, they would think this is a good transaction and very nice thing to do. So do not make that mistake of not asking for a promotion. You should be the first one in your team asking for the promotion from your boss. How you ask it is a separate issue.
We'll come to that. Interesting. Actually, I want to double click on promotion committee. You have seen it both from inside and outside. What actually happens inside? What is the discussions that happen inside the closed room?
So first you have to understand it's a very short span, attention span work. So even though and it depends on which level you are, but even though let's say a boss is representing you, the decision is being made by somebody else. Can be a group of people, can be let's say a regional head, MD of that region who has a specific quota which has come, can be anywhere else. So there are people who are representing you and somebody who's taking a decision. Now, across, if it is a big organization which has got 10,000 plus employees, one person at MD level looking and approving the promotions uh, can range between 100, 150 people also
In one sitting,
in one cycle,
in one cycle.
which would be like typically 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, depending on the company and what the process is. And there, the representation time that your boss would have would be 1 minute, 1.5 minutes.
So would it be like a roll call? Name one. Who is it? What they do? What do they do? Who they work with? And should they get promotion or not?
Kind of, yes. Not in, I won't term it like a school gathering, etc. The additional element of this would be that, let's say somebody is saying this person should get promoted, there would be people who are trying to contradict it.
Because like a debate also, it's like
Kind of an argument, debate, etc. Sometimes it gets ugly also. But think of this way around. Your boss's peer also wants his team to feel motivated, and there's only one position, or HR has said only one position we can promote. Now he's going to fight tooth and nail against your boss. So we think that we don't need to establish good relationships with a peer team. It becomes really mandatory so that his arguments are not too strong against you.
so there are a couple of people fighting for and against you, and you are not even aware or in that room.
Absolutely. You have no idea that who has stood up against you. You might have never ever met that person, but that person will stand up and say, look, my team had worked with him. I think he has got attitude problems. Now, how will your boss justify this person doesn't have it?
And if you don't have a good relation or good rapport with your boss, they don't have any reason for justifying or fighting for you or against you.
To fight tooth and nail against or for you, if you don't have a relationship or alignment with your boss, becomes very difficult. Unless you have some other trump cards like you're blackmailing your boss, it becomes very difficult otherwise.
Which is a really good segue to my next question. Most of people hate their bosses. Rather, it is called that, nobody loves their bosses. While my whole promotion and everything that you just mentioned all depends on him or her, uh, how could I first love my boss in the not so wrong way, and also make sure that I'm getting promoted through him or her, or whatever happens, I get my promotion, no matter if I like him, they like me, or they don't like me. Uh, and just to continue on this, most of the people have a fear of their boss. They can't go and ask for promotion. Half of the people, they can't even speak to their bosses. It's like going to a principal and asking for a leave, which is impractical for them.
Which is true. So raise multiple points. Let me address a few of them. And I think all these points have got an inherent psychology associated with.
Fear of boss.
Uh, it's not just the fear of boss. This is treating your boss as a differential figure. As a, what do you call your bosses? You call your bosses as papa, grandpa, that my bap, my bap. So we started giving a terminology where he is superior to you and you are kind of at his mercy, or he has to take care of you. So a lot of people say that it is boss's job to notice my work and sell my work in a promotion committee or anywhere else. Additional to that, I'll go on a little tangent and then come back to it. Addition to that, you do not want your friend to be your boss. Now coming back to the part that you want to have a good relationship with your boss, but you are having or wanting that good relationship from an angle that he is senior, superior, notices you, has a good taste about your work, right? You need to flip the script. You have to treat your boss as a baby, as a kid.
Okay.
Right? It's absolutely other way around. So how will you treat a kid? I know you don't have a kid, but you would have played around with your kids and teenagers. Yeah. And you're pretty good with kids, right? Most chubby people are, by the way. So how do you handle them? If a kid or a teenager is throwing a tantrum, your bosses also throw a tantrum. How do you handle the tantrum of a kid? You don't fight, argue, anything, right? Either you let it pass, or you, calm down. You give a calmer vibes than the kid who's going through. Or he wants, what does the kid want? He wants little security. He wants little attention. Are you giving that attention to your boss, or are you hoping that the boss will give you that attention? Yes, and we can go in whole of a depth. You can read any child psychology book, and you will basically that those books should be written on how to manage up or how to manage your bosses.
How to have a good relation with your boss? Treat him like a kid.
Treat him like your own kid in some ways. Think of it, your boss can be a 7-year-old, 10-year-old, or he can be a grumpy teenager. But do not expect that he would take care of you, etc. Because he's your kid. You have to take care of him versus the other way around. If you imbibe that philosophy, you will always have a good relation, even with really toxic bosses.
Interesting. Didn't think like that. Make complete sense now. Other very important reason, and this is a combination again, is I am not getting promoted because market बहुत खराब है. Industry तो और भी ज़्यादा खराब है और हमारी company is not performing well. जब इतनी सारी प्रॉब्लम है वहाँ पे मुझे कैसे प्रमोशन मिलेगा? I have to switch to a different industry or a different company. Only then I will be one promoted and also survive in this mayhem. Is it true?
Absolutely not. Bad times are the best times to get promoted. And I tell you why. And I've been through multiple restructurings in different organizations, Accenture, City, etc. Whenever that restructuring is happening because of the reasons that they're not doing very well in the market, a generic advisory would float that this year we are not promoting anyone. Right? If you look at the end of that restructuring phase, there are so many promotions that have happened. And they don't even call it as promotion, they just call it realignment of roles. But that effectively has promoted you to the next level and also given you a hike. Now, why do companies do that? Number one, there is a news that they're doing a restructuring, there is by default an increase in the people who leave the company. So attrition goes up. Anyone who was eligible, has some market relations, has a good network, that has done decently, first people to leave would be those people. Now, what does that do? That decreases your competition. Right? That's number one. Number second, the realignment always opens up new roles. Because the process that you were owning, or the process your team, BU, etc. was owning, that process has gone through a change. Now, because the process has gone through a change, we need a different set of skills, people to manage it. So all these creates more opportunities for you. So if you are doing decently, if your visibility is very high, and when I say visibility, and we should double and triple down on that, but let's say visibility is high across the organization, for you to first get that knowledge that, look, there is a new opportunity coming because there is a new team, new process getting formed, and there are people who have left against which the backfill is not allowed because the company has put a moratorium on not getting more people. So now do the maths. Number of roles have increased, number of people have decreased. Your chances of getting promoted have automatically increased.
It is obvious now.
Right. Just that you don't get into that mindset that I want to survive. You let it pass, let me have my job. Don't think like that. Think it is a great opportunity. Put your noses out, think through, look for opportunities, connect with a lot of people, and you would get that next promotion within the same cycle. But don't celebrate, otherwise people will get jealous.
Fair enough. Celebration always is a conscious choice. Let's talk a little bit more about you now. Probably this is a good time when we should know why you are talking a lot about promotions, especially when you are now out of corporate and you are no longer going to get promotion very easily until you give yourself a better designation every few years. But what has been your journey so far? Have you worked in places where promotions were not easy? You got them right. Was it also a case where you gave promotions? How did you give those promotions? We spoke about being in committees which decides on promotions. So your journey, your last 30 years, what have you done so far? What all things you have achieved and what are you missing now?
So I really don't like to talk about titles because titles, any inflation can build up. And I remember once talking with one of my colleagues and they said, look, I want the next level. And I said, why do you want the next level? It was not very clear. So because it's good to put a word like senior manager or a senior VP in front of your names. And I said, then the easiest way is you go to LinkedIn and change the title. You will get that dopamine hit. So it's always about what you are doing and the impact that you are trying to bring versus looking at a title, because titles can always inflate. What an MD was 5 years back, the same title has not the same level. But I kind of moved out of City as a senior vice president. I moved out of Accenture when my boss gave me a option to become the MD of the region. And he was like, "What else can I give you that to make you stop? Why are you?" And I said, "Look, what is the bigger story? That I take an MD and my grave has an MD written to it, or I move out and say I refused an MD position. And regarding my grave, I can now say I'm a CEO. So that makes it easier. But coming back, the journey and the organizations, there are two kind of organizations, especially in the Indian landscape. One are slightly more flat, which then they keep on adding hierarchies. Right. So the IBM example that we gave, you also have to notice it was 80s. They had 16 levels to a CEO. Right. So he got promoted 16 times. Right. If you now look at the service companies across, although you will become an MD, after MD also there is a senior MD, double, there is a level, etc. You will have 20, 25, 30 depending on the hierarchy.
There are a lot of roles waiting for someone to fill.
They keep on adding more and more roles on top of it, which is what we term it as title inflation. But think of it, if you're joining as at the lowest level, and if there are 30 levels to CEO, and you think you are going to get promoted in 2 years, you have 60 years. Your working age is 25, 30, right? So does that mean that you should let go of your ambition to become the CEO of the company? Answer is no. Why should you? Why would you dream to become at the top of it? So that's all the more reason why promotability as a skill is very, very underestimated and not talked enough in the parallels of what needs to happen to have a better life.
How did your journey started? Where are you coming from? Which college did you study from?
So I'm an engineer. First 8 years of my career I spent with SAP Labs as an engineer. The funny part of my career as an engineer was that I started with a product and then moved to services within the same product company. And for the people who don't know, SAP of that time was the Google of today. Google or OpenAI of today, they keep changing. And then I did my MBA from IMC. Then I did roles in Accenture, NVIDIA, Citi. NVIDIA was a high growth company at that time. Citi was going through a major restructuring, and I was leading their global transformation of their finance. With Accenture, I had actually had two stints, and I always say this. In SAP, which is a product company, I did services. In Accenture, which is a service company, I did product there. So the worst of both the worlds. But the good thing of all of these were, let's say in Citi, I used to interact with 55 teams. Because you have to transform the whole 55 process which runs across 55 teams.
How many people would be there in these 55?
So in a call, each team would be represented by at least 4 people.
Wow.
So you can
200 people are there for sure.
Yeah. So 200 people that you have to manage their psychology.
Right.
And no matter what people talk, I know this is outside this discussion, but no matter what people talk about transformation and technology, the first thing is human psychology. If you are not able to convince 200 people that what you're proposing is correct, and all of them have got different interests, different intents, different self-interest, different levers that you have to pull for them. Unless you understand that, it becomes extremely difficult. Same with Accenture. When we used to look at how do we see technology in their operations, this would be like 15 offerings. 15 offerings will at least have 10 deals under them. So like 150 deals. So which means that 150 clients, 150 into 5, because each will be represented by 5. Now you can imagine the complexity that would keep on increasing. And that's what you understand. Most of the things is human to human. It is not the best slide. It's not the best technology. It is what you can influence in the human, and then what you can listen and understand of a human.
Interesting. So Shab, I know you from last 2 years now, and you are building this amazing company called Better Corporate Life, and you are promising people that they can be promoted or they can get promotion in 2 months or 8 weeks of practicing promotability as skill, and in next few months they can see results, they can get promoted. The chances of their promotions are higher. So how are you promising this? Is it because of all the experience that you have accumulated, or is there a secret recipe that you are now selling?
So what we are offering is not a secret recipe. We are saying very simple things. But like all simple things, these are difficult. Right? Let me first talk about what is BCL, that you first question, right? Which is a very simple name, again, but very difficult to accomplish, which is a better corporate life. Now, why a better corporate life? Because 12 hours of your day you spend in office. if you are not happy there, the remaining 12 hours are not going to go well either. So it's not that you can compartmentalize, at least I couldn't, that you can compartmentalize what happened in office. Be happy when you come back home and see your family. Unless you have had a great day at office, it's very difficult to have a great day and listen to your kids, listen to your wife, understand what they want, give them what they want. If you are feeling very underappreciated or undervalued on those 12 hours that you spent prior to coming back home. So the idea was very simple. We need to give people a better corporate life. And you might be surprised, very few people talk about it. But what is the number one reason for mental health issues or midlife crisis?
What is it?
Right. So think of it. You're not working in a mine in Jharkhand. Your work environment is in a AC in front of a computer. It's not mad. There is toxicity, yes, with your bosses and etc. And we can talk about how we handle it. But the trigger of your crisis, the trigger of your mental health issues is when you start feeling cheated that you worked, somebody else got. Or you feel underappreciated that whatever you didn't get noticed. Or you feel that you have no other option in life but to somehow suck it up, if I'm allowed to use that word, just take it on your chin and keep quiet and put your head down. That's your trigger of all your root causes of all your problems. It's not overwork. It is not bad physical work environment. It can be, yes, people. People can be, some of them are really nasty. But end of the day, it is essentially you feeling not validated, underappreciated, and eventually cheated.
Got it.
So, and among many things, the first thing that we are trying to first build out and bring it on is let people get that skill on how do I get promoted, not feel again being cheated, not feel being underappreciated, but getting what you deserve. But at least you should know why it is happening to you, what is typically happening, and it is not your fault. These are the skills which nobody mentions, nobody talks about, and nobody for specifically inculcates in you.
What are we promising in this better corporate life, be promotable course? I know that you are not calling it a course. What are you calling it?
So we don't call it a course, we call it as promotion strategy system. And why system thinking is extremely important. And let me first talk why are we different than a quote unquote course. The course or the learning, whether that has been your college, your technical skills that you have learned, etc., is built only on one pillar, which is awareness. That if you know about a concept, you are equipped to apply it in real world. Right? Even in that concept has been derived out of only a single discipline. That if you are learning engineering, it is derived out of computer engineering or mechanical engineering, etc. If it is leadership, it is derived out of a leadership discipline. The promotability is actually a sum total of multiple disciplines, which might include storytelling, which might include marketing, which might include human psychology, which also includes your own technical skills. But then we always get limited to only one or two skill sets, right? So number one, most of the courses stick to just awareness, and in that awareness also only on a single pillar. Right? So what we do is we start off with awareness, but we know this is not the end. And we, in that awareness of what needs to do, we have borrowed it from multiple places, including sociology and marketing and how to build influence. Right? Then you come, if you really want a transformation, what you have become aware of, and I won't use the word learned, what you have become aware of, you need to think how you would apply that in your personal context. Right? It is one thing learning to drive, that is awareness. Learning to drive on Mumbai roads, Delhi roads, and Pune roads is your personal context. Right? And each will have its own quirkiness. So that's the second step. And reason why most people fail in that step is because they do not get an assisted application. So think of it, if you learn something, already your cognitive load is very high. Now you are being asked to think, how do you apply that to your personal context? Your load further increases, you put a full stop. What we do is we give that stimulation, that applications, the apps which will help you take your awareness and put a template of your own personal context, which nobody is aware of. Only you are aware of your personal context, and that makes it richer. Then we don't stop there. There is a third step, which is even goes beyond your personal context, which is personal. Let's say, for example, you come to know that you need to speak up in the meeting. That is awareness. You have to speak up in a meeting in which there are 5 stakeholders who are like alpha males, alpha females, who don't let you speak, is your personal context. Your hesitancy in not speaking in front of them is some personal barrier. Right? So 3 steps of getting an application into your real world. The third step, we get into what we derive out of the ICF frameworks, which is international coaching frameworks, and very specific targeted conversations, which right now we run it both from humans as well as with AI, that you now get and dig deeper into what your personal barriers are in terms of applying them in your real life. That's why we are different, and that's why we don't call it as a course.
That's why you're calling it as promotion strategy system.
Because we design the full system for you, which is relevant and unique to you. And we don't just stop there, by the way. We also give you a template of an action plan, which is preloaded, which you can enrich further and keep on applying it as you are applying it throughout your life. And that action plan, enriched by your own personal experiences, is available for you for better tracking, for better implementation, and keeping you honest around the path of getting promoted.
Promotion strategy system, how is it structured and what are we getting out of it?
Right. So promotion strategy system talks about the core skills that you need to build up beyond your, of course, technical skills, etc., which is required for your job. And it starts off first with you, which is one, getting to know what you want clearer to you, right? Which is also the myths that you carry, what a typical promotability skill looks like. And number 3, which is what you want to get should be aligned to both your strengths as well as with your values. That's the start of the system, which is knowing yourself better. Then we move to very specific things which are required to get promoted once your internal alignment happens. That includes, number 1, stakeholder management. And in stakeholder management, think of it as a 2x2 metric, where on one side of the metric is influence, on the other side of the metric is your visibility. So then we also talk about how you can build the visibility so that the people who are influential for your career vouch for you in those tough promotion committee meetings. Then we talk about what kind of tasks that you should be doing, which are what we term it as high leverage tasks, which can help you grow faster. The additional advantage of this module is to grow in an organization, you should not get burnt out. And only way you will be able to do that is when you know how do you delegate, how do you choose certain tasks, and which projects you would want to prioritize. So this is rewired back into the people. Then we talk about and inculcate in people the concepts of active networking and personal brand building. Remember, if your job also involves your visibility and you are the only worker on your own visibility, you will always get tired, exhausted. If your personal brand exists, it can work for you when you are not there. It's like an interest that you get in your account or FD without you doing anything.
A personal brand is going even when you are sleeping.
Absolutely. It's working harder than you do. Then we come to very tactical stuff as well, which is how do you pitch a promotion? What should be the elements of that pitch? How do you be smart enough to know what you should be pitching so that it impresses your boss, your stakeholder, your superior, etc. So most of the pitches that I have, by the way, came across in my journey, I only have one word for it: boring. So how do you not be boring in your pitches to have that maximum impact? Then of course, we do multiple other things, including scenario practice. That this is a scenario, your situation that you define, and how will you react? So you then have that vision of this is how you're going to act and react. Beyond that, there is an action plan, which is both tactical and strategic, built on the pillars that I talked majorly, which you can also refine, keep track of, and then remain honest with. So this is broadly what we cover. There's a lot more, but this is broadly that we cover, and not just cover, go 2 levels deeper into how do we rewire that into your life, which is the tougher part. keep on applying and you will not have a problem of being overlooked again in your career.
Sushant, why do you think BCL is important? And also, why people generally don't talk about promotions?
There are myths people have started associating with promotions. And that's why they think if they didn't get promoted, there was a deficiency either in their work or in themselves, right? And they cover that deficiency by more certifications, doing MBAs, getting that Power BI digital marketing certificate in their resume. But all that does for you is it increases your employability. It doesn't increase your promotability. So what you have done essentially is push the problem from one stage to another stage. And typical example I give is like a traffic jam in India. You build a flyover, you're not solved for the traffic jam. You have just pushed that to the next junction. So people tend to blame their bosses, company culture, then they shift the company, remain happy there for 1 or 2 years because they got kind of a little jump, and then face the same problem. So at one particular point of time, they just give up. That they accept that I will always be promoted last. Or they, what is the terminology they say right now? Quite quitting. That they just doing bare minimum to survive. But I always say this, if you quit the rat race and you are still in the race in the corporate, then you are just a rat without the race. The worst of all the worlds. Not getting promoted is a very personal affront that people take, and that's why they don't want to talk about it. It's not something, a topic that they're open or openly willing to admit that there is something which they are not doing to get promoted. They say there are certain things that the company is overlooking that they are not getting promoted. So it's kind of a blame shift. That's why people don't normally want to talk about it, but they would do so many things like more courses, changing jobs, and only reason behind that is career stagnation.
There's more fear than any other thing than greed for promotion, it seems.
Their fear, yes, there's always an imposter syndrome, which again gets boosted because you didn't get promoted. Are they good for it or not? Are they quote unquote leadership material? Right. So typically people would tend to say that, oh, maybe I don't have leadership skills. That's why I didn't break through a certain level. While it has got nothing to do with it.
Actually, I'll come to this question. I have a friend, and before we met, I was talking to her about this. She said, Divyang, I'm not getting promoted because I'm an introvert. And also, I don't have that leadership material. I don't want to be a leader. I want to do my work. I'm really good at it. But I also want to travel. I want to learn new hobbies. I want to be free. मुझे नहीं करना है कि मैं 10 लोगों को manage करूं. I'm doing very well with whatever I can do. और इसके लिए मेरा promotion नहीं हो सकता. And I have made peace with it. I'm okay with it. Is it a good narrative? Is it possible that for her promotions are not possible and she should not even opt for them?
Again, I'll repeat, if you are in the job and you're not in the running, then you are just a rat without the rat race. So if you have accepted that you will not get promoted, think through deeper. Why is that acceptance coming there? What makes you believe that you cannot lead? What makes you believe that you will not get promoted?
In her case, she's clear that I'm an introvert. I do not want to talk to a lot of people.
So the underlying belief is that leaders are loud, they are outspoken, and quote unquote they are dominant. Right? This is a typical things that we would associate with a leader. If I just flip it and say leaders don't get promoted, how you work with the leaders in the organization gets you promoted. And what is leadership? Leadership is not being dominant, coming and dominating. Leadership is basically a signal of power, that you can wield power and you can take care of that power. If you're loud and if you're dominant, it's just increasing your visibility. So if you are an introvert, you can actually have a better visibility, a better influence, and hence a better signal towards leadership than somebody who's loud and dominant. I can as well as spin a person who's loud and dominant to saying that, look, he's not very serious, he will not be able to handle pressure well. While an introvert, because he has remained calm in a pressure situation, I would trust him to manage a difficult client or a role that requires what you are terming as leadership skills.
Do you have any story, any real incident when you saw that an introvert did it well, got promoted regularly, is doing very well now?
So many of them. So many of them. But the change that happens, there was this one technical architect that used to work with me, and we used to be in the business of pitching the solutions to the clients. Extremely good in explaining what technology is, very soft spoken. There was the other person who was extremely loud, really flamboyant. I'll even say charismatic. Now, obviously, that guy who's more thought to be charismatic would always be put first to give a client demo. And more client relationships you have, the better the chances that you have for getting promoted. Right? Now, you would think there is a hopeless situation for our sweet guy who will explain everything in detail, etc. All he had to work was a little bit on the presentation and executive presence without changing the iota of what he is. And the command that he would have in the client meeting on the subject, on the technical side, actually he got promoted and given more bigger responsibility much before that charismatic guy. So it is not about charisma. It is about whether you are able to signal that you can handle a tough conversation. And introverts normally do well because they listen a lot more.
Interesting. I was taking an interview recently. This person, she's a new mom. She's coming out of, uh, managing kids and now coming back to work. She's doing work from home right now. She has been doing very well before, her motherhood, her pregnancy. But now she's saying that, Divyag, for me, there is no way that I'm getting a lot of opportunities. I'm not going to get a lot of promotions. I have to make peace with it. Why? Because I'm managing this. I'm managing home. I'm managing my kids. I'll be working from home. In corporates, you need to go on sutta breaks. And that's only way that you get promotion. I'll not be able to do it. Even if I want to, I can't do it. And I am not going to office regularly. That also means that my chances of getting promoted would be lesser. I'm really very good at my job, but I know just because I'm women, I'll not be promoted.
So let me first debunk the first myth that what she mentioned to you. I am really good at my job. That will not get you promoted. Your ability to signal you would be really good at the next job is what is going to get you promoted. So that's the first myth. Let's debunk. Let's look at the second myth, and I will not belittle the problems the females face in corporate. I've seen that. I'll give you one example. I was working on this project which had a lot of US clients, and my boss was staying up till 2 o'clock with meetings, etc. My work got over at 1 o'clock, and he said, "I will stay on for 1 more hour. Say bye to him." Just the sense that you should not go before your boss, right? Now that's 2 o'clock in the night. I could afford it. A female who's got a kid and a husband, without stereotyping anything, will find that extremely difficult to do it. So I'm very empathetic to that struggle, to what you're calling a sutta break, is that luxury that we have to pass time, etc. But look at the other way around. The error is not that you are not staying till 2 o'clock to say bye to your boss or having a sutta break. The error is you are thinking this is the only way to build visibility. Basically, what she's thinking is this is how the game is played and these are the rules. If I don't do it, I will not get promoted. Extremely wrong. You have to play on your strengths. If her strength is she can listen like a female and I'm again not stereotyping, who are better listeners to the boss, can manage boss's anxiety much better because she's managing her kids' anxiety much better, or just provide a side and perspective that her boss's team, which is primarily, as I understand, is males, are not able to provide. She has this unique differentiation with her that she needs to find out as her strength and play on it. Not try to replicate somebody else's playbook, which he's a master, you are not.
Another friend of mine, he said, my global counterparts get lot of promotions. इंडिया में प्रमोशन कोई देता ही नहीं है यार, क्योंकि इतने ज़्यादा कॉम्पिटिटर्स हैं, इतने सारे लोग हैं, मुझे नहीं मिलना है. अगर मुझे प्रमोशन चाहिए, I have to go out, I have to work from either Singapore or Dubai or any other place. Only then I'll be promoted, I'll earn more money. I can't do it from India, and I'm seeing it every day. Parts who are doing even less work, they have a better work life, they work only 6 hours, 7 hours, they are getting promoted every time. Pay parity is a big problem, they are earning in dollars and euros. I am just doing 12 hours of grunt work and I am in rat race. I'll never be promoted.
Well, there is a saying, grass is always greener across the sea. That's from the play, but discounting that, let's look at the first principle. When you are in a global role, the headquarter, by default of the physical proximity, has got more visibility. Right? You can cross over your boss, he's sitting right next across, or a global leader. You can say hi, have a discussion, etc., etc. But is the physical visibility the only criteria? Answer is no. If you are struggling in that front and for whatever reasons you can't cross over to the headquarters, first look at, are you able to devise a vision which is global? If somebody is getting promoted, it's because he has devised a vision for the next role which is slightly more global in nature. And that's why it is appealing to people who are sitting in the global headquarter. Your struggle is not that they are not listening to you. Your struggle is you do not have something that would interest them. So that's one problem. And second problem, and not joking, if you think visibility is such a big issue, why do most people turn off their cameras when they're on Zoom call with headquarters? So it's have to look inwards a little bit. Somebody at the global level getting promoted, he has it easy, but not that easy as you think. That's one. Second was a myth that your friend is inculcating, which is they have a better life balance. Despite not having a better life balance, work-life balance, or despite me struggling and working hard, I am not getting promoted. The underlying myth is the hard work or the quantum of the work gets you promoted, not the impact. If the CEO is the hardest worker in the company, that company is doomed. His job is to create a maximum impact. That might come from working, that might come from thinking, that might come from even getting him off the meeting and just sleeping. So whatever brings in the most impact will get you promoted, not the quantum of the work and certainly not the hard work. And certainly on top of it, doing hard work away from the global headquarters that you can't even show to them.
This is a story of someone who is using BCL right now. She got promoted very quickly in first 6-7 years. And then there was a big break.
Yes.
There was utter chaos. There were a lot of things happening in personal life. Life was happening rather. And then promotions also were on a pause. They were not happening. At 8-year mark, she was depressed. I can't get promoted. And after that, for next 3 years, everyone else around her was getting promoted. She was stuck at a very good mid-level. And she was hopeless when she joined the system. She's in the system now. She's learning. She's doing a lot of things. But you have had a word with her. So what did you tell her and what is she doing now?
Right. So let's start off with what most people go through and she went through as well. At a certain stage of your career, whether that is 8 years, 12 years, 15 years, 18 years, that between that period, the promotions or the career advancement stops being directly correlated with your work. When you are at a junior positions, you do well. That well is extremely visible. Like for example, you code well. Your errors in your code is lowest. Your tech lead would see it. His job becomes simpler. When you grow up in the organization to a certain level, and that's what you call as mid-career professionals, the correlation between your work and the ability for somebody to measure it and compare it with others, that breaks. What do I mean by that? If let's say you are managing sales and you are having 5 clients, your competitor also has got X number of clients. Now you would say that, look, I worked hard. I got X amount of revenue, I should get promoted. How does your superior know that the other person had a difficult client? Or you had an easy client? Or your market penetration was easier? So there are so many variables and factors, and the fact that your competition has spread. So the way to measure your work is not possible for your superiors or stakeholders. So what do? They don't look at how you are working. They try to estimate in the next role, would you be fit or not? So that's breaking away from the reward to the work to the promise of the future. Now your pitches cannot include I worked well, I got X amount of revenue. Your pitches now need to happen in the next role. This is what I'll be able to do, and here is the proof of it. So this is what we talk to her about it, which is the perfection of the pitches, debunking the myths that she was carrying through, and then internalizing how you manage the stakeholders and her barriers, the few of the personal barriers which I won't talk about, few of the personal barriers and how she can overcome that. It is applicable to anyone who is working in a corporation, whether in India, whether outside India, whether in IT, whether in industry, whether even in very legacy industries. This problem is a lot more outside IT, because the ability for you, at least in IT or related fields, there is an opportunity for you to say that I will move on to a different industry. In few of the industries, that sometimes is not even possible. So your cards are stacked against you. So all the more reason that you need to have a lot more promotability skill, and that will hold you good stead, irrespective of the corporation that you work for.
One cliched question, rather an FAQ for a lot of people, they blame promotions directly to office politics. There's only way that I can win is if I'm winning my office politics. I do all those things and then I will be promoted. If I don't like those, if I can't participate in office politics, it won't matter. I'll never be promoted. Is it true?
So there's the ebook that we give free of resource as managing office politics as part of the program. But without going into the depth of it, let me give you two examples of what politics are. Number one, everyone says there is politics in office.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone also says, I don't play politics.
Yeah.
So who's playing politics?
Everybody? Nobody?
But nobody is accepting that they play politics.
Yeah.
Right? And why is that happening? Because 80% of the cases, it's not politics. It is everyone acting in their own self-interest. So if you have to handle politics, first you have to understand what is the counterparty's self-interest and try to align your self-interest to him. I'll give you a very short example. And one time I was pitching an automation tool within my org, right? It would have saved you at least 10 people's work and effort, right? My manager shot it down. I blame politics, right? But if you look at it, what was he doing? His existence is because people work under him. And now if you put a tool, it is threatening his existence. So he's acting in his self-interest. And I am also acting in my self-interest. That if I'm able to implement this tool, I will get some name, I will get promoted. So from his perspective, I am playing politics. From my perspective, he's playing politics. So what is the solution? The solution is I need to align our interests together. If that automation tool increases his promotability or increases or helps him that he has implemented a new initiative, he'll be very happy to implement it. So my job shouldn't have been to sell it first as terms of an outcome. My job should have been to first understand what is his self-interest. Then I wouldn't have to blame politics for it. That's 80% of all politics, aligning your interest. Remaining 20%, which is typically what a lot of people complain, and it's actually true. Something like backbiting.
Yeah.
Gossip.
Yeah.
Withholding critical information, that there is an on-site opportunity you didn't come to know, right? Or there is a gossip somebody put in the ears of your boss against you. Very childish stuff, but happens. That's 20%. It happens. So how do you solve for it? There's only one simple way of solving it. If you have an ironclad visibility.
What does that mean?
So that would mean that you are known and understood. When I say you, it's you, your work, your nature, what you stand for, your personal brand is known and understood. So if it is known and understood, if there is somebody gossiping against you with your boss, would he be comfortable to talk to you about it? Answer is yes. If there is a new opportunity that has come in and your visibility is also with the gatekeepers like PMO team, would they be happy to share it with you first? So all these small petty problems can go away if you try and actively work on your visibility. That's the only antidote. Otherwise, you will just keep speculating that the environment is bad. People here don't.
You have said all this and but I still don't believe it because, when we speak, when, I have a lot of friends in corporate, and the kind of narrative, the kind of conversations that happen, यार मेरे बॉस को तो मेरा नाम ही नहीं पता है ना? वो एक दिन मुझे राहुल बुलाती है, एक दिन मुझे रोहित बुलाती है, एक दिन रोहन बुलाती है। मैं उसको अगर मेरा नाम ही याद नहीं है, तो मैं प्रमोशन कैसे एक्सपेक्ट कर सकता हूँ? दैट्स वन। अदर फ्रेंड इज़ हू विल टॉक अबाउट मेरा बॉस ऑफिस में दिखता ही नहीं है। हाँ, मैं सुबह 9 बजे आता हूँ और 5 बजे तक बैठा रहता हूँ। वो 2 मीटिंग करके आते हैं, फिर तीसरी मीटिंग में चले जाते हैं, फिर चौथी मीटिंग में चले जाते हैं। हमारी बात ही नहीं होती है। वो हफ्ते 2 हफ्ते में एक बार ऑफिस में अगर दिख भी जाते हैं तो 50 लोग उनसे ऑलरेडी बात कर रहे होते हैं। हम 2 महीने में एक बार मिलते हैं। इसमें मैं कहाँ उनको अपना प्रमोशन पिच करूँ, कहाँ मैं उनसे बात करूँ कि अब मुझे आगे बढ़ना है जो। तो एक प्रॉब्लम है कि मेरा एक फ्रेंड है जो जिसका नाम है उनके बॉस को नहीं पता है, उनके मैनेजर को नहीं पता है, और अगर उनको नहीं पता है तो उनके ऊपर तो किसको पता होगा। सेकंड इज़ कि बॉस का टाइम ही नहीं मिल रहा है, पता ही नहीं है वो क्या कर रहे हैं, एंड देयर आर सो मेनी मोर पीपल।
So I had a boss for 2 years. I met him only once the day of my joining. Rest only we interacted on video, very little. He was busy managing up than managing me or his team, right? In a way, really good boss. Will not bother you. Probably knew my name, doesn't know my name. I don't even know that. So how do you build visibility for that? Right? That's a question in summary that your friends are struggling with. You have to now think second order. First, don't be lazy and don't be too happy. Because it was like an ideal scenario that you are working and you're not really accountable. Your boss is not asking, is not micromanaging, which can, by the way, be more worse situation to be in. So now if you have to build visibility of this one, don't be lazy. Try to build a visibility with people with whom he has interaction and they have his ears. They have his ears basically.
What does that mean?
What does that mean is people who go and interact with him. Whether that can be on Sutta, whether that can be on official status, it can be his secretary, it can be his bosses that he's interacting. The people, he's not living on an island, right? He's connected with folks around him. So you need to build your visibility with them and more importantly, your personal brand with them. Right? So when he says, I want to do this task, he's not talking to you, he's talking to somebody else. And if he says that Sushant is best suited for it, he will automatically know, right? You don't even have to be there pitching anything to him. Your personal brand is speaking to him. And that's one. That's one way of building visibility. Second way of building that visibility is, even if he's not talking to you, even if he's not interested, still tell the story of your work to him by some medium. For example, writing a weekly email or forwarding him the topics of his interest. Let's say in my case, he was really interested in technology, although he was not leading a technology team. So whatever was the latest technological developments, I took it upon myself to keep on sending him or forwarding him, which he remembered. Even he still remembers after we have parted ways. Number third is very simple things, giving him attention. Now, I know it, you can't give attention in person, but you can always find creative ways of giving attention. For example, he used to post a lot on LinkedIn, his thoughts, etc. Make sure that you comment, like, refer, etc. So it's not an end of the world if you are not having a physical audience with your boss or he's not remembering your name. All you have to do is to find creative ways to build visibility in the second order.
This is one side of a story. I also know that you have told me one other story of someone who made sure that his boss always see him no matter what, and for that.
So there's all creative things people do. Huh?
Yeah.
So one of them is if he's not giving an audience, you go to admin, etc., whosoever manages seat allocation, make sure you are sitting in his eye line. If it is a cable, right in front of his eye line, right? So one of my friends made ensure that, and every time my boss will go for a sutta break, not my boss, sorry, his boss would go for a sutta break, he would stand up and accompany him down. So he always had an option to give it. Right? There is one of my friends who used to do, and I used to cringe at it, but always compose an email, that's a status update, and then schedule it first thing in the morning in an Outlook.
Smart chap.
Yeah. First time, every time that he would open up, the first email that he would see on the day would be his email. So he'll automatically remember. So there's so many creative ways that you have to look at it. But then again, it's not just tactical. You have to think slightly more deeper into it. That where is his attention, and in that attention span, either it is people, platforms, emails. It can be your town halls. Find a way to make a connection.
Do you cover this in BCL anyhow?
We do. We absolutely do. And we also not just cover that, we also cover what are your blockers to be doing and taking steps to build that visibility.
So do you give creative ways for people to...
We empower them to think creatively themselves because their context is unique to them.
But once they do the course, they will figure it out what is required for
What is required for building visibility.
Interesting. One other thing you mentioned here, and this is a repeated thing.
And can I, sorry, before we go there, there are a lot of misconceptions about visibility that I want to also debunk. Some people think visibility is about their work.
Yeah.
Right? So they put a status email. This was my project. I covered it.
Yeah.
And they think it is visibility. Some people think visibility is about a person. That if my boss knows me, knows my name, it is, I am visible. Right? Some people think it is standing for a brand. That look, I am the best marketeer in my department. That is my brand, and that is what the visibility is. It is a culmination of all three.
Okay.
Unless your work is visible, unless you are associated that with the work that is being visible, and number three, your brand is telling a story. And what is a story typically? Story is movement of something from A to B, overcoming challenges because there was something at stake. I repeat. If your brand is not telling a story, now what is the story? That you worked is not a story. You increase the revenue from X to Y is one small ugly story, still not your brand. From moving from X to Y, you handled a difficult client who would not give you business is the next level of the story. But still incomplete. What is missing is the stick. You moved the revenue from X to Y, overcoming a challenging client. But if you had not done it, the repercussion would have been that we would have not even won the second client. Right? So now you have a complete story, and if this story needs to have the visibility. So what was your work? That you increase X to Y. Only your work. You increase it is associated with you. You told the whole story of it, and your boss knows or your stakeholder knows about the story is your brand composition.
Is it true that people do this very often when they are moving out? So they will update their resumes and tell the story, but when they have to do it internally, they miss out on it?
Even resumes are really horrible. So resumes typically at a lower level when you start off with your career is filled with aspirational skills.
Yeah.
I know Python, I know marketing, I know digital marketing, I know leadership, right? Then somebody tells people that no, you need to put some numbers. So people would say that, oh, I handled a project of 250 million people. I handled a team of 20 associates.
Peer headed a team of 70 people.
Now tell me, is that a story? So it is like I watched the wall and I kept watching. Oh, by the way, wall was 6 inches. It's a boring pitch for anyone. So what is the story? That if you led the team of 5 people, what was the difficulty? And what was at stake? If you wouldn't have managed a team of 5 people or 15 people or 20 people well, what would have happened? Now that's the story you need to tell. And if you have that ability to tell it, you don't need to update your CV. You will get promotion within your organization.
And how do you help, or in this case, BCL help in developing this story?
So we have this whole module on pitching. How do you pitch? And there are things that you need to understand before you build a story. The first thing that you need to understand is the listener on the other side of it. What is his interest? And the story has to cater to the listener, not to you. We call it as what is it in it for you framework. So we have this whole application and awareness as well as coaching support to help you understand what is in it for the listener, and then crafting your message aligned to it. and then practicing that message again and again so that that becomes your personal brand.
So the tool and human element in everything comes together to
to
make your story better. Very interesting. Can I work with you on my story if I want to be promoted? Can I ask you 4 or 5 questions and see if I'm right fit for a promotion?
Why don't you pitch me your promotion pitch? Divyank, why should we promote you?
So very first thing, it's been 10 years of me doing marketing. So I know the trick of business very well. And I am doing this for so long that I know everything about it. And I have managed more than 50 people.
Can I pause you here before you go to the next segment of it? One clear myth that you're articulating is the tenure that you have in the organization makes you a deserving candidate to get promoted. Tenure doesn't get you promotion. It's not a government job. Okay. Now, if I leave aside the tenure, if I ask you now, please cut the tenure, now pitch again.
I've worked with difficult clients. I have worked with a lot of people inside and outside of office, and I made sure that everyone is satisfied and happy with whatever they need. And I made sure that whatever it takes, I work on that. I make all right decisions, all right content, and everything that is possible so that my clients are always happy and business is booming. And I've gotten a lot of good appreciation from my clients for that. Plus, apart from it, I have a very good personal brand on LinkedIn. So a lot of people know what I am doing. I already have a good story. All those things are there. And I am endorsing brand. I am doing everything right for the brand.
Can I pause you for a minute?
Yeah.
In your whole part, you made a lot of claims.
Yeah.
Right? You managed the team well. You handled difficult clients. There was only one evidence that came that you got some client appreciation, right? And that too, you're informing, not composing.
Right? My boss already knows about it. My everyone who is around me, they already are aware that I'm doing it, and I'm doing so well that I didn't have to tell people.
Again, that myth is second guessing your boss, right? Why or what makes you think that the client appreciation registered with your boss? And even if it registered, what's the harm in repeating that so that he internalizes that you are such a valuable person to the client? So that's one mistake. The second part, you are too much in your head explaining your pitch. Your first question that I would ask to anyone, and we make people reflect on it, which part of this pitch is of interest to your boss? You handle the team well. Is that of interest to him?
Everyone.
Or is it a tick box that, yeah, he's a manager, you said you've been there for 10 years. You have been managing the team decently. I've not heard a complaint. Is that interesting to me? Is that relevant to me?
How would I know that my boss?
Great point. And that's what we make people do in VCL. Your first job is to understand what your boss's interest, KPIs, KRAs are. If you don't know your customer and you're just pitching what you have created, is it really relevant to him? Are you selling a non-veg item to a vegetarian? So first, understand what is of interest to your boss and don't second guess, don't presume. And most of the stuff that you talked about is a great personal achievement. Is it relevant for him? That's one, right? Another mistake that you made in your pitch. Which role are you calling for? Let's say CMO. In the Chief Marketing Officer, is it really relevant that you handle the team well? So what is the KRA of the next role? And are you showing evidence of that? I couldn't find that in your pitch. If the KRA of that is that you are able to get 10 clients, show an evidence that you increase the business at least with one client. You got an appreciation, great. Did you increase the business? If that is of interest to the next level or to your boss. So all these things you have to cover. And last part. What do you think was your story? What changed?
I have learned the trick well, so I can do it much better if I'm promoted.
So only change that you say is that you had some learnings in last year, right? A to B. What was the challenge in that learning? What would have happened if you didn't learn it or didn't apply your learning? That would have completed your story. So number one, it was very light on the change. And number second, it was extremely empty on what is the repercussion if you have not done it? What was at stake?
Got it?
BCL was formed because I thought this is what I needed when I got stuck in my career. And that wasn't a very happy time. So it's essentially made for people like me. I could figure it out. I'm pretty sure people figure it out themselves or will figure it out. But in the process of figuring what the promotional strategy system is, the journey is really painful. And I didn't want people to go through that pain. That's why BCL exists, to make the corporate life better so that no deserving candidate feels left out.
You actually brought a very important point. It is an Indian phenomenon, but it is all over the world also. Yeah, these things I can figure it out myself. I don't need a system or course और ज्ञान बांटने वाले लोग जो मुझे बताएंगे कि प्रमोटेबल कैसे बनना है. What is this BCL which will help me this? I can do it myself. सब लोग अपने आप ही करते हैं. सब लोग कॉर्पोरेट में जाते हैं, टाइम बिताते हैं, अपने आप सीखते हैं और फिर प्रमोट हो जाते हैं. That's how nature works. ये BCL से मैं क्या कर लूँगा? ये कैसे मैं प्रमोटेबल बन जाऊँगा?
I think most people who get promoted have no idea why they got promoted. Either people are inherently having the skill, God gifted, and few people have it. Let's be honest. Few people, when they get promoted, will realize they have got promoted either out of nuisance, that they go. I've seen people come and cry in front of me to get promoted, or feeling so left out that they go and fight with their bosses. And some of the bosses don't want to pick up those fights. They have no idea even the position that they got after 2 years, 3 years, and what is the cost of not getting promoted early. At the time of decision of your house, whether to buy a 3 BHK or 2 BHK, if you were a level above, you would have bought a 3 BHK, but today you bought a 2 BHK. You lost 1 BHK because you didn't get promoted early. Will you figure it out? I am pretty sure you will. But what is the cost of figuring that out during that particular time? And what does that do to you? You have to weigh the benefits and cost against it.
I hope you enjoyed this session. I hope there are a lot of people who are now thinking about and motivated enough to be promoted, and they are also checking out BCL website. Link is in description. Link should be here or somewhere. Check out Better Corporate Life today and start on your journey of being promotable. Thank you and have a wonderful day ahead. And I'll see you again sometime